Actually, March is before August. Maybe they already were. 2 Januaries. January, February, March. 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 August. Doesn't need to be precise, that'll do. And then we're just going to build these in order. There's only one of each being built, and then after that we can decide exactly what it is that we want to build. Once these have actually been done. Okay, good. So that's that decision made. What decisions do we have to decide upon? Demand reduced Dutch trade with Germany. Oh, so this is the gateway to Europe, which apparently starts open already. I thought that only became available when the Dutch did their gateway to Europe, but apparently not. I definitely want to see an uber-imperialist Britain playthrough one day, though. I suspect I can probably do that. Build more hoods. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can withdraw from the naval treaty, which will remove the national spirit, and then basically everyone can escalate. We've got 120 days until the next one is on. Expand the Burma Road, which gets us war support but uses civilian factories. And also build some more infrastructure in Burma, okay. Then we have these. Oh, we can give refuge to scientists. That's just a permanent research speed. Interesting. We're going to want to get those soon. And then increase resources in various locations. 12 new steel in Newfoundland would be good. Then nation building in the British Raj. Gives them stability, gives them democracy support. Costs me political power. Police action in the British Raj, I guess, is going to be... IIM becomes the ruling party. Yeah, see, I don't know much about the political situation in India. That's one of the reasons I've kind of resisted playing as Britain, because I just don't understand why you'd want to give them independence. And if you give them independence, they remain in the Allies, or they do literally just become independent. Do I control Egypt and India? I directly control Egypt, and India as a puppet. But it means I can still use their manpower and train their troops. Which I almost certainly will be doing fairly heavily. Yeah, we're going to start with limited rearmament, I believe, because that's where all the economic policies are, is on the left. The political ones are on the right. No, the political are in the center. No. Yeah, these are the imperial ones. Which we will want. Like, we do want to encourage colonial elite sooner rather than later. But we want to start like the Shadow Scheme. We want industrial effort. We want the extra research slot. We want definitely the Royal Ordnance factories. So we're going to start with this. The recent stirrings from Germany and other fascist powers around the world suggest we may not enjoy peace in our time. In preparation, we should begin to set the pieces in motion for our own rearmament if the situation gets any worse. And we have, yeah, loads of divisions. That is true. What's that mean? Create an empty army for requesting expeditionary forces. Oh. Bear with me a second here. Was that button there for Poland? I don't think that button was there for Poland. Because the expeditionary system is how you got troops for the armies in exile. And I'm wondering if I could have used that button to request troops from the Brits. I don't remember seeing that button though. I don't think it was there, otherwise I would have clicked on it. This one. Request expeditionary forces. I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it didn't exist, but I don't know if... Actually, there's an easy way to check. Let's just open up one of those videos, seeing as I have several hours of that content now recorded. Let's do you. No, that button did not exist for the polls. Okay, I'm not going mad. I didn't see a button and not click it. It's fine. Alright, so several of you are already trained, so let's grab those of you who are not yet trained and start you training. Put you over there.
Yes, sir.
Let's close the request expeditionary button. Then there are still a couple of other forces which we will need to use. We'll also need to start shifting troops around just generally in the world.
Attention.
Like you lot are going to be like my Africa command, I think.
Yes,
And you.
sir.
You're going to be a new theatre. You are going to be the Empire. And this is going to be the Africa Corps. And your job, in particular, is going to be to garrison that area. To blockade Ethiopia too. Then oops, no, not that. I think I'm going to get these two to join that force as well. So I don't think we're going to need to fortify these. Okay. Sort this by army, so it splits all of these down at the bottom.
Ready.
Ceylon Defense Force. These are my Indian troops. I think that these are going to be Malaysian defenses instead. These are another garrison unit. Malaysia. And then Gibraltar, Hong Kong and Malta. Hong Kong can stay in Hong Kong. Hong Kong. And it is important to do this as Britain, so you know where your troops are. Gibraltar is going to hold on to Gibraltar. Gibraltar. And then finally we have the Malta Command, which are going to be holding on to, you guessed it, Malta. Just going to set up the garrison orders to be correct. There we are. Right, so then we have these two forces. You guys are going to be drilling. We will worry about renaming and everything later when we're actually in a position that we need to do that. And then the navies, of which there are many. I mean, Wolf. Oh, you were here for a while. Sorry. The new buttons are only for countries with puppets. Okay, fair enough. Can you download some unrealistic? Can you download some realistic army insignia? Probably. I wouldn't know how exactly to do that though. If only you could guide your allies to certain theatres, it would be useful to say, tell the Indians and the Anzacs to deal with Japan so you can hold off the Germans. Yeah, that would be very nice. It's the reason I don't like playing as the UK. Keeping track of all the tiny garrisons all over the world is a chore. Usually it's not too bad. You just need to do the preparation early on. And kind of once that stuff is set, it's set. Alright, so next up we need to decide what we want to do with our fleets. If there are any ships that we want to rebuild, if there are any fleets that we want to move around, which fleets should be commanded and by whom. Where's the home fleets? This is the big guy. And they already allocated those. Okay, cool. Actually, first thing I want to do is have you become a reserve fleet. Just double checking there's nothing called the reserve fleet, because that would annoy me. Yes, there is. God damn it. Right, so the reserve fleet is actually going to be in the reserves. Because that's just going to be confusing otherwise. Because I do need to set up the task forces properly. Okay. So these are all going to join the reserve fleet. And then from there they can be spat out into whichever task forces need them. Okay, there's quite a lot of pre-game naval preparation to do. Gone are the days where you just put everyone into one fleet and call it good enough. Queen Elizabeth in a reserve fleet. Madness. Well, it is only a tier 1. In fact, all of these are tier 1s. Right, home fleet. This is the big boy. With HMS Hood. So, your job is going to be Strike Force. Well, actually, your job is going to be... This is going to tank my oil supplies. Training. 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 Bye-bye, oil. Now, I kind of know from experience that training air forces is pretty much pointless. Though I could train the air power. Actually, apparently I can't. Okay, we won't. So there. At some point I will need to mix up my air forces. I think what I might end up doing is just deleting all of these, though. With the exception of the carrier forces. So those are just carriers, okay. And we'll be getting a bunch of manpower back again. Don't send the HMS Hood to Norway, you know what happens. Okay. Yeah, there's one or two music tracks which are badly balanced. They've come out really noisy, but I don't want to tweak it like every single track. So I am sorry about that. The Spitfire and the Lancaster bomber are iconic planes. I mean, we have a lot of love for the Lancasters here. For obvious reasons. I don't think we have them yet, though, do we? Nope, they're there. Alright. I'm going to call this home. Cool, so I'm okay just doing those. I'm not going to bother deploying my fleets just yet. Although, do I want to? Probably do. So we got the Actually, I like how these are split up. That's cool. So we can shuffle those around as needed. Mediterranean fleet's huge. And I think I am going to assign an admiral to each of these. The home fleet is going to be... Actually, I'm going to... I wondered, will a recon fleet call in a strike fleet if it's not in the same fleet? Sorry, a recon task force call in strike force if they're not in the same fleet? Probably not. I think I want... another fleet, which is going to be my destroyer fleet, which is going to be the Atlantic fleet. But I probably don't need those just yet. We can add them. Alright, so home command is going to be whichever is my best just straight up fighter. This is my brawler. Aviation enthusiast. 4345. Cunningham. Ironside experience factor. Bold. Career officer. Blockade runner. Superior tactician. Cunningham I think is going to be my main admiral. I know historically there was actually a lot of use of carriers in the Mediterranean, so this is either going to be Fraser or Somerville. I think probably Somerville in the Med, fighting against the Italians. North and South America's command. This one's quite small. Oh, you've got one too many fleets. Alright, we'll fix that in a minute. This is just smaller ships. Shallow sea expert. You know what? Cunningham would be good there. And the Far East is going to be fighting against the Japanese. So again, you should be an aviation expert. I think Fraser would be a perfect choice. Okay. So you need to lose a fleet. So we're going to take the Humber Force as an example. Just being able to create a new fleet would be very handy. Not just a new task force, but a new fleet. Do it like this. Ah, that's how you do it. Okay, worked it out. So this one, we want to have someone who's good at commanding destroyers. Positioning would be good. Naval speed and damage would be good. Gentlemanly. Enemy retreat chance. This officer instills a sense of respect and subordinates in enemies alike. Organization against submarines would be good, but I think what we want is somebody who can find enemy ships better. Spotting chance, for instance. Naval AA. That far out, we probably don't need AA. Huzzah! Utari, thank you very much for the resubscription. 9 months now. Nice, thank you. Very much appreciate that. Have I been watching the Total War streams? No, I haven't. I just haven't had time. This week I'm going to have done 51 hours of streaming. I bought Hearts of Iron 4 and a 14 minutes of playtime. It was last Christmas. I'm more of an EU4 player. I mean, generally I'd say the same. I am EU4. But I have to do what the masses like. But like I said, I've been genuinely enjoying this expansion, so I'm good with it. Sorry about the random scrolling, it's because I'm panning over to chat so I can scroll it up and then moving back again so it's not just going around the world. Alright, let's just click on it. I'd put the R's in reserve, they were slower. The R's. I'm going to assume that was a ship class. Great uncle died on the hood. Brian Clement Jones Roach. That's kind of a cool heritage. Heart of Iron 4 is kind of weird for me. It's one of the games I love watching streamers play, but I'm not very good at myself. I don't mind it. Seems to have fixed a few gripes I had with navies. Yeah, the navies are definitely a hell of a lot better. Like that last game that I was playing as Poland, I think the Allies lost because the Axis submarines did their job and cut off supply. That and Lend-Lease is broken. Right, so who do I want as my destroyer commander? I'm kind of disappointed we don't have more spotters. I think it's kind of got to be Willis. Fleet speed while retreating +3, positioning +75, fleet coordination +3, defense +10, damage +15. Yeah, I'm going to say Willis. Because none of these guys are spotters, are they? No. Alright, so Willis is going to be the destroyer commander. Do we have any other fleets which are just destroyers? Yes, we do. And then we have some which are light cruisers and destroyers. These are going to be my recon ships. And then we have submarines, which actually want refitting. Is the S-Class the new submarine? Yes, the S-Class is the new sub. So I probably do want to refit them because they have a fairly substantial improvement in terms of fire capacity. Because they have extra torpedo tubes. So I think I am going to say S-Class. 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 All of these. I wonder if we can just do this. No. Has to be individual. It's not a big refit. It's not going to take very long. And then refits, I think, take naval repair. So we're going to go up to 10 dockyards maximum on that. And we were going to have to build some more naval yards, because again, I'm taking the responsibility for the Navy here. See you, Dana. Alright, cool. I think we're ready for this. Now watch my oil reserves just nope, yep, there they go. The ships have left harbour. And that happens. Alright, so we're going to need to buy in some more oil. Quite desperately. I mean, actually, there's an easier way of doing this. I don't want to spend consumer factories this early. It's because I have my entire home force currently drilling. Let's send these guys home. And we're just going to have one fleet drilling at a time. I don't think we need the whole lot doing it. Although, how much experience am I gaining? 0.7 a day. That's quite a lot. And K is the drill hockey. Same as in the EU4. I approve of that. Okay, now we're gaining oil. Or rather, it's going to take longer to drain. That's fine. I can get it more later. Cool. Oh, except for the... Okay, so one thing which I dislike is if you have ships that are training, they just stay at sea. They don't go home to their port. And that is something which I think needs to change. Go home, you're drunk. Because you have no idea how often I forget to do this. Hint, it's a lot. Why are you not upgrading? Invade Saudi Arabia and rub them with the oil and kill Lawrence Guy while you're at it. I've heard good things about this Lawrence Guy, though. We're not the Union of Britain. We have nothing to fear from him. Hey, Kill Bill. Greetings to you in the Netherlands. Speaking of the Netherlands, do I want to start trying to sway them? No, because I'm going to want to do my own things. I'm going to want to start mobilizing when we can, although that's going to require world tension. Right, let's have a look at the advice. Oh, flipping hell, there's a lot of advisors. Okay. At all the different possibilities here. So, do we have any industrialists? backroom backstabber, armaments organizer, war industrialist. No, we want the other one. Royalist bulldog, Winston Churchill. Sylvia Pankhurst, Oswald Mosley, David Lloyd George, Clement Attlee. A lot of familiar names there. Silent Workhorse, that's political power gain. I mean, political power gain could actually be useful, potentially. I don't know how many decisions we're going to have to take. War support from Churchill. So, Maxwell Aiken, eventually we will want, because he increases dockyard construction speed, fuel silos, and military factories, but not yet. I don't think we're going to need any of the demagogues, because we're going to be staying Democrat. Oh, we have cheaper... Oh, Stanley Baldwin makes the advisors cheaper. Interesting. So, we're going to want to try and get one of these guys while they're cheap because of him. I don't think he's going to be around for very long, though. Most of the Saudi oil was discovered post-World War II. Yeah, I know they don't have much. Persia is actually the place, like the neutral country if you want oil. Or Venezuela. What's the big new in the DLC? Naval changes, like the entire naval game has been completely overhauled and changed in very positive ways. New focus trees for the Netherlands and for Mexico. Updated focus trees for the UK and the USA. And so far they seem pretty decent. Exile government mechanics. So like Poland, when Poland falls, can continue fighting, which is kind of cool. King George V has died. That was a very early death. January 36. His Majesty George V, King of the United Kingdom and the British Dominions and Emperor of India, has passed away. His quiet calm and devotion to his subjects saw the Empire through both the Great War and the Great Depression. His son will assume the mantle as King Edward VIII, but there is already concern that he is too independent of thought. Stanley Baldwin and Neville Chamberlain are preparing to ensure he will accept the direction from the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. And as long as he stays in power, we lose stability. Persian oil should be British owned like the way the Mexican oil is. Oh yeah, that's a thing that we have to participate in, isn't it? Although... yeah. Not sure how this system works. Or if this is a system which Mexico can meddle with. But right now this oil goes to us. In the same way that I'm going to assume that Romanian oil will go to Germany.